Alright, we are getting started in about 1 to 2 minutes. Welcome to another live game show where I host and keep score while you play by commenting. Hey, Simon D, welcome. We're getting started very soon. About 1 minute. Hey, Dollar. Alright. Are you guys ready to get started? Alright. Simon D and Dollar, welcome back. We are going to get started. Change the keyboard. Awesome. We're going to get started with Tribon. This music, it's the intro music. We're going to get started with Tribon, the first person to correctly guess this word. Hey, Johnny Biz, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and get started with Tribon, the first person to correctly guess this word. We'll get a point on the scoreboard. This is something children play with. It's a lot of fun. This encompasses many things. This is a broad word for many things. It's only yes, toy would be correct. Simon, welcome to the scoreboard. Simon is a returning champion. You are entered in as red. Congratulations. Oops, I just threw that. Alright, continuing on to another round of Taboo. The first person to correctly guess this word will get a point on the scoreboard. This is where people go after high school to get a degree. It's another word for college. There's a lot of professors. It's a type of school. University would be correct. Simon, that is another point for you. You are at 2 points. Welcome, Johnny, Simon, and Dollar. Moving on to another round. Of Taboo. The first person to correctly guess this word will get a point on the scoreboard. This is where you send letters. When you receive a letter, it'll appear here. You can also send packages, and they'll typically appear here. However, if they're too big, they won't be able to fit. Mail is sent to here. What is it called? Where the mailman? What is it called? The mailman puts the letters in your blank. Mail post is close enough. It's mailbox, but I do realize across the world it's called different things. So Simon, I'll give it to you. Simon, you're at 3 points. Moving on to another round of Taboo. The first person to correctly guess this word will get a point on the scoreboard. This is a comfortable type of pants that people usually only wear at home. Sometimes you see people wear them out, but normally not. People will go to sleep in these. Kids wear them more commonly than adults. However, many adults wear them. Pajamas is correct. Simon, that's another point for you. You're at 4 points. Moving on to another round of Taboo. The first person to correctly guess this is first person to correctly guess this will get a point on the scoreboard. Yeah, Simon, you're doing great. This is a type of chair commonly found on a porch, and it moves back and forth. Typically made out of wood. folding chair is close enough. It's a rocking chair. Another point for Simon. You're at 5. Alright, moving on to another round of Taboo. The first person to correctly guess this will get a point on the scoreboard. This is a small piece of almost like sticky tape with a small square of gauze that you'll put over a small cut or incision on yourself. This is one of the most basic things in first aid. Many people have them. They're to cover a small cut. You put them on your body. It's a small piece of tape with a small square of gauze in the center of it. Bandage. Band-Aid is it, but I'll give it to you for bandage, Simon. You're at 6 points. Alright. We're going to move on to blurt. Blurt is a fan favorite. The blurt is where I read the dictionary. It was Band-Aid. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. You're allowed as many comments as you want, 1 guess per comment. The first definition, the star around which the Earth and other planets revolve and which is our source of light and heat. The second definition, a small room for 1 person as in a monastery or prison. Sun would be correct. That is a point for Simon. I'll repeat the second definition. Cell is correct. That is another point for Simon. Moving on to another round of blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. The 2 points can be handed out to the players. You're allowed as many comments as you want, 1 guess per comment. The first definition, a figure resembling a human being that is set up to scare birds away from crops. The second definition, a grave or building for a dead body. The first person to tell me the correct word for either of these definitions, scarecrow, would be correct. That is a point for VTL. VTL, welcome to the scoreboard. VTL, it looks like this is your first time earning a point on this game show, which means congratulations. I'm going to be adding your name to the Hall of Fame, where once you enter, you never leave. You're the 145th person to enter the Hall of Fame. First time here. Well, welcome, welcome. We have a Hall of Fame where you are the 145th person. That means 145 people have earned 1 point on this game show. Whoever just subbed, this firework is for you. We also have a Hall of Champions. Whoever gets the most points on the scoreboard who's not already in the Hall of Champions will enter. VTL, you're currently in the lead. Simon, his name is Pink because he's a former champion, already entered. Anybody who is purple will be entered into the Hall of... Well, I'm sorry. Anybody who's purple will be competing to enter the Hall of Champions. This fireworks goes over sub. I'm going to repeat... Hey, Tuesday, welcome. I'm going to repeat the second... Hey, everybody. Welcome, Deborah. Tuesday sets. I'm going to repeat the second definition because nobody got it. A grave or building for a dead body. Fireworks for whoever subbed. The first person to tell me this word for the dictionary definition. Have a good one, Johnny. This is the dictionary definition for a word. The first person to tell me this word will get a point on the scoreboard. A grave or building for a dead body. Tombstone is close, but it's not quite it. Tombstone is close. The first person to correctly guess it will get a point on the scoreboard. A grave or building for a dead body. A tombstone is the actual stone outside of above a grave. Tombstone can almost not be any closer. That is your guys' hint. If you cut that word almost in half, you have it. Who will be the first one to say it? A grave or building for a dead body. Tomb would be correct. It was a tomb. VTL, you're the first person to say tomb on my screen, so you're going to get the point. VTL, you're at 2 points, currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. One person enters the Hall of Champions every single stream. I'm doing 2 streams today. The streams are 2 hours long with a 5-minute break in between. We're going to move on to another round of Blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for a word. The first person to tell me the word will get a point on the scoreboard. The definition is a long seat. The first person to tell me the correct word will get a point on the scoreboard. A long seat is the definition. Bench would be correct. That is a point for VTL. The next definition, we're going to play another round of Blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for a word. The first person to tell me the correct word will give me will get a point on the scoreboard. To change from a liquid to a solid by loss of heat. Simon, I'm doing only one at a time for a second when we have too many people. Whoever said this fireworks to change from a liquid to a solid by loss of heat. I'll give you a hint. If you put this in if you put water in a very cold environment and it turns to ice, what is that called? What is the process called when you put water in a very, very freeze is correct. That is a point for Simon. Simon, you're at 9 points. VTL, you're at 3 points currently in the lead. All right, we're going to go back to reading 2 definitions of Blurt because, yeah, we're going to go back to reading 2. All right, moving on to another round of Blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a small, shallow dish for holding a cup. The second definition, someone who steals. Hey, Trinity, welcome back. The first definition repeated, a small, shallow dish for holding a cup. It is not a bowl. The second definition, someone who steals. And these are saucer would be correct. VTL, that is another point for you. VTL, you're currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. I'm going to repeat this second definition. It is not a robber, but that's close. Someone who steals. The first person to correctly guess this word. Criminal, because you're not technically wrong. It is not the correct word. Someone who steals. What do you call? Thief is correct. That is another point for VTL. That is 5. VTL, you are at 5 points. You are at 5 points. Moving on to another round of Blurt. This is where I give the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, someone who operates an aircraft or spacecraft. The second definition, a small bed for a baby, usually set on rockers. And just so you guys know, we play multiple games throughout the stream. We play multiple different card games and some board games. Pilot would be correct. That is a point for VTL. Crib is not correct. I will repeat it. A small bed for a baby, usually set on rockers. Cradle is correct. First person on my screen who said pilot would be VTL. First person who said cradle would also be VTL. I would have guessed crib as well. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a dark underground prison. The second definition, an animal related to the spider that has a narrow body and a long tail with a poisonous stinger. The first definition repeated, a dark underground prison. The second definition repeated. A dungeon is correct. The second definition repeated. An animal related to the spider. Scorpion is correct. Typos are okay with almost every game. VTL, you got both the points. You're currently in the lead. You're still holding the lead. However, the champion for each stream is not announced until 1 hour and 55 minutes into the stream, unless I add time onto it for technical difficulties. Moving on to another round of blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: someone who is trained and licensed to treat diseases and injuries. The second definition: a tool or device used for cutting that consists of a sharp blade attached to a handle. Doctor would be correct. That is a point for Simon. The second definition repeated: a tool or device. It is not a knife is correct. VTL, that is a point for you. You're at 10 points. Only the people with purple names are competing to enter the Hall of Champions. I like to add somebody every single stream, and people with red names are already in the Hall of Champions. Moving on to another round of blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition: an open fireplace used for cooking meat, usually outdoors. The second definition: someone who feels that he or she is better than others or judges people by their wealth and social position. Sure, Trinity, we can do password next. It is not a grill, but it's very close. It is not a judge. After this card, we'll be moving on to password. All right, I will repeat the definitions. The first definition: an open fireplace used for cooking meat, usually outdoors. It is not a Blackstone. The second definition: someone who feels that he or she is better than others by judging people by their wealth and social position. How blurt works is every other round, gets easier and harder, easier and harder. I'm going to put 15 seconds on the clock. This is a tricky one. I only accept answers above when I said done on the chat room. Or in the chat. It's not stove, not president. All right. An open fireplace used for cooking meat, usually outdoors, is a barbecue. The second definition: someone who feels that he or she is better than others or judges people by their wealth and social position, is a snob. Dictionary definitions. Now, we are, as per requested, we are going to move on to password. Password is where I give you guys clues and hints to my one-word password. Welcome back, Fireworks. Password is where I give you guys clues and hints to my one-word password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password without typos, capitalization, does not matter. We'll get a point on the scoreboard. This is the only game where typos matter. You are not allowed to have them because it's called password. We had a little extra challenge. Moving on. This is a weapon that is a long shaft with usually a pointy tip and feathers on the back, shot from a bow. It is a pretty medieval weapon. You don't often see it used today. Some people use it for hunting. Arrow is correct. That is a point for VTL. A long shaft with a pointy tip with feathers on the back, shot from a bow, would be an arrow. VTL, that is a point for you. Moving on to A. You got it. Hey, Javier, welcome. VTL, you got arrow. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. A lot of people wake up to one of these Well, also, these are in schools. When there's a fire, somebody can pull a thing and a blank will go off. Alarm is correct. It's a point for Javier. Javier, welcome to the scoreboard. Javier is a former champion, so he is entering the scoreboard as red. Welcome, Javier. We're about 20 minutes in. We have about an hour and 35 minutes to go. Till the champion is announced. Currently, only VTL is competing, but in the lead with 11 points. Moving on to another round of password. Hey, Evan Lane, welcome back. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed in this game. Capitalization does not matter. This is a dairy product that you could usually find in little cups. And it's some people will put it's typically a breakfast item that some people will eat on them by themselves. Yogurt is correct. Hey, Fragment, welcome to the live game show where I host and keep score. You comment by playing. The first person on my screen who said yogurt was Javier. I can always pull up my screen to verify. We use my screen to break ties. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. This is a place, you don't see many of these. There's usually one or two in a city that a lot of animals are kept in captivity for people to come look at. Exotic animals from all over the world. Zoo would be correct. That is a point for Javier. Javier, you're at 3 points. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Don't worry, we play many different types of games. Moving on to the round of password. First person correctly guess my one-word password without typos will get a point on the scoreboard. Every single letter will make up this. You need letters from this to write. There are different letters that make up different ones. Alphabet is correct. Alphabet is correct. Fragment was the first person on my screen who said it. Fragment, welcome to the scoreboard. And Fragment, it looks like this is your first time earning a point on this live game show, which means congratulations. After the show, I'll be entering your name to the Hall of Fame, where once you enter, you never leave. You're, I believe, the 145th person to enter. No, 146th person to enter. VTL, 145th. You were the 146th. That is awesome. We are also now, you are competing with VTL to enter the Hall of Champions. One person enters the Hall of Champions every single stream. These streams are about 2 hours long. Red names are former champions. Purple names are competing. Trinity, do I know what number you are? I will look. You are number 130 in the Hall of Fame. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one word. And we do play multiple games throughout this stream. And some games give multiple points out. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one word password based off of the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Simon, you're number 95 in the Hall of Fame and 23 in the Hall of Champions. There's only 37 people in the Hall of Champions. Who will be the 38th? All right, Blazin. Blazing Killa, welcome. First person to correctly guess my one-word password without any typos. We'll get a point on the scoreboard. Capitalization does not matter. Here we go. This is a very broad classification for an animal that lives underwater. Fish would be correct. That is a point for Javier. Now, guys, we do use my screen as a tiebreaker. And so Trinity, your mom was 129 in the Hall of Fame and 29 in the Hall of Champions. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Blaze and Killa, the three key components of this show is we want to keep it fair, we want to keep it fun, and we want to keep it friendly. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. This is a type of amphibian that is born from an egg, but after it's born, it can hop around on land. Hey, Richard Green, welcome back. Welcome back. Frog would be correct. There's a point for Fragment. Fragment, you're at 2 points, catching up to VTL. Richard, welcome back. Welcome back. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Typos are not allowed. What do you call a friendly disagreement or argument between people in a friendly manner? Typically, there's clubs for this where people will argue a point. Also, politicians do this as well. Debate is correct. Debate is correct. Simon, typically fights are not friendly. If they were friendly, it would be sparring. Just so you know. All right. Javier is the point. Moving on to... Yeah, that would make me chuckle a little bit. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Here we go. What is it called when you give somebody... What is another word for present? When you give somebody something for their birthday or for Christmas or for Hanukkah or for any thing like that. Gift is correct. That is a point for Blazing Killa. Blazing Killa, welcome to the scoreboard. I do have to make sure that I spell your name correctly for my records. Blazing Killa, this is the first time you've earned a point on this game show, which means congratulations. Your name will be entered into the Hall of Fame, where once you enter, you never leave. VTL, I'm assuming it showed you that you got it first on your screen. Yep, I'm gonna show you on mine. It's okay. I'll show you on mine. Hold on. So I'm gonna explain it. We have a lot of new people here real quick. I've been doing this for almost a month, and so unfortunately, with the internet, if you guys send it so close to each other at the same time in real life, it'll show you both on your screen that you guys said it first. However, since I'm hosting, I get the messages first, so we have to, the only way we can keep it fair is we have to have some system for breaking ties, so we use my screen to break ties. So I'm going to show you. If I go up on my screen, Blazing Killa said gift first. Back here was when we were on the other round. Blazing Killa. Let me make sure it's up. Yeah. Blazing Killa said gift first. We try to keep it as fair as possible. So, that is the system that we use. Alright, fair, fun, and friendly. Cool. But I do still make mistakes. So if you think you said it first, let me know and I'll double check in the chat. I can pull it up as well at any time you guys ask. I still do make mistakes, so it's always good to check. Moving on to another round of password, where I give you guys clues and hints to my one-word password. The first person to correctly guess my password without any typos, capitalization does not matter, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. This is what you call a fruit or a vegetable when it's ready to eat before it's rotten. If you let it sit in this stage too long, it will go rotten. Ripe is correct. So that is a point for Javier. Simon, you were close second on my screen, but you wouldn't have gotten it if you were first because you had a typo. And then Blazin, you were a close third. I will show you guys real quick. Where are you, Javi? Here. I'm just gonna pop it out real quick and just show you guys because you said another one. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It sucks, and I really wish that wasn't the way. It showed you had it first on yours, and that happens a lot. But I'm just gonna show you guys because it even said you had it first on yours, but you were third on mine. So here's Javier, who said it first. Simon, typo. Blazin. So if you guys can see there, I do try to keep it as fair as I possibly can, and that is the system we go with. All right. Hey, Blazin' Killer, you do have to keep it appropriate with your comments. This is a family-friendly environment for all ages. Have a good one, Simon. Yes, please keep it appropriate, or you will not be allowed to play. We want everybody to have fun here. And be a family, fair, fun, and friendly environment. Moving on to the next round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. This is what you call a person who escapes from prison is on the run. This is a criminal. Hey, have a good one, Blazin' Killer. Have a good one. This is what you call a person who fugitive is correct. Fugitive is correct. That is a point for Richard. Oh, Richard, welcome to the scoreboard. Richard is a former champion. You are entered in as red or pink, whatever it is. Welcome back, Richard. Good to have you. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correct, I guess, my one-word password to get points on the. Still got to beat your high. What is your high score, Richard? Oh, good luck with your 1,000 pages. Oh, man, you got a lot to read. I try to stream every day. At least 6 days a week I try to stream. 1 to 3 times a day. It's typically around 2 times a day. I'll make a community post almost every single day with what times I will stream that day. I'm in Central Time, so right now for me it is 5:35 p.m., but I always put that I'm in Central Time. So 33. Wow, that was a high. That's a lot, Richard. So yeah, VTL. I do try to do it almost every day. This is the first one of today. Moving on to another round of password. Actually, we're gonna move on to another game. We're gonna move on to another game. All right, VTL. Hey, VTL, just so you know, if nobody beats your high score, you're going to be entered into the Hall of Champions. Just because you leave doesn't mean your score gets erased. So you might come back next time and realize you're in the Hall of Champions. Just so you know. Because your score, just because you're leaving, your score does not get erased. So, if somebody beats it in the next hour and a half, it's beat. If not, it's yours. All right. All right, we're going to play a new game that I'm trying to develop for the stream. We're going to test it out, play a few rounds. We're going to play Good News, Bad News. This is where I give you guys... I will tell you guys some good news, and you have to tell me the bad news. The bad news must start with the letter that I choose. All right. So the good news is I got a promotion at work. But what got me fired? Starting with the letter R. First person to tell me, we're going to point on the scoreboard. It could be a word or a sentence. It just has to start with R. Good news is I got a promotion at work. But what got me fired? Starting with the letter R. It could be a word or a sentence. Robert told on you, okay? I would have given it to either of you. Robert told on me. I guess you did something bad. Javier, you'll get the point. All right. You don't know if that counts. You couldn't think. Yeah, that's fair. You know what? That's fair. It is too broad. I think we'll go a little bit more specific with the bad news. Otherwise, it'll just keep getting boiled down to one word like yesterday. So, I'm going to give it to Richard. I'm going to give that to Richard. This is developing stream, so a lot of things are trial and error. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. Good news, I won the lottery. What's the bad news? Starting with the letter G. It could be one word or a sentence that starts with G. Yeah, I appreciate that too, because this is just trial and error. Got robbed. I won the lottery. The good news is I won the lottery. The bad news is I got robbed. I will give it to you, Fragment. That was a good answer. That was a good answer. All right, we're going to play another round of good news, bad news. The good news is I bought a house. Tell me what the bad news is, starting with the letter A. Could be a word or a sentence that starts with A. I bought a new house. The good news is I bought a new house. The bad news starts with the letter A. A tornado blew it away. That is bad news. That is a point for Richard. I would definitely say that's bad news. Oh, I made your point. It's too close. Gotta fix that. Richard, I'm definitely giving that one to you. All the walls were moldy. I would have given that one to you if it was first. All right. All right. The good news is I got a new dog. The bad news starts with a letter F, the first person. I'm still figuring out how to word it. The good news is I got a new dog. What is the bad news that starts with the letter F? forgot at the adoption shop. Farts a lot. These were both good answers. Bad news is the dog farts a lot. All right. I'll give it to you, Javier. All right, we are going to move on to justifiable thoughts. This is where I'm going to have you guys name something that starts with a certain letter. The first person to name something you would find in a vehicle that starts with the letter S will get a point on the scoreboard. The first person to name something you'll find in a vehicle. Seat would be correct. That is a point for Fragment. Fragment, you're at 4 points, catching up to VTL. The first person to name something you lose that starts with the letter D will get a point on the scoreboard. Dog. You could definitely lose your dog. I will give that to you, Javier. Oh, driver's license. That is a headache to lose. Javier gets the point for dog. Name something made out of wood that starts with the letter M. The first person to name something made out of wood. That starts with the letter M, something that is made out of wood. Mailbox post. That would be a point for you, Javier. Name something smaller than your fist that starts with the letter D. Name something smaller than your fist. Starts with the letter D. A dart would be correct. That is a point for Richard. Dipping dots would be smaller than your fist as well. Richard, you're going to get the point. You're at 4. Name something you would not put salt on that starts with the letter M. Name something you would not put salt on milk. I will give you that one, Fragment. Make up yourself. Okay, these are all funny answers. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Fragment said milk first, and I would agree you would not put salt on milk. Fragment, 5 points. Oh my god. All right. Name something you would find in a library that starts with the letter G. Glass would be correct. That's a point for Richard. Richard, I almost gave you a point for saying good answer, because it starts with a G. You find good answers in libraries, and then I realized that it was you were talking about the last thing, so it was kind of funny. You get the point for glass. It's 5 points. Good books. Yep, I'd agree with that. Name something you would not want to happen on a family holiday that starts with the letter U. Name something you would not want to happen on a family holiday. Yeah! Alright, Fragment. I'll give you the point there. Urination. Uncle does show. Yep. Alright, Fragment. Undergo surgery would also suck. Name something that has a hole that starts with the letter J. That starts with the letter J. Name something with a hole that starts with the letter J. Jelly, donut. Point for Fragment. Fragment, you're at 7. You heard wrong. My apologies. I'll turn off this AC to hopefully it'll be a little bit better. Jumper cables. Yeah, there's a hole in them. Name something you have to turn off that starts with the letter L. Name something you have to turn off. Starts with the letter L. Lamp would be correct. That is a point for Javier. Well, Fragment, creative or more creative or not, the first person to just give me a correct answer with the games will get the point. Name something you would find at a zoo, starting with the letter N. Something you would find at the zoo, starting with the letter N. What is Nana's? Okay, a silly person, a fool. Okay. You would definitely find that. I will give that point to you, Richard. Name something you would... Oops. Name something you would never find. Name something you would never find at a grocery store, starting with the letter N. Hey, James M., welcome back. I would agree you would not find Netflix. You would not find Netflix at a grocery store. Richard, point for you. James, if you had said nails first, I would have given it to you. Welcome back. What could get you fired from work? Starting with the we're just did that. Starting with the letter C. What could get you fired from work? Starting with the letter C. I don't think complaining could get you fired. Shouldn't. Calling in too much could, though. Yeah, I wouldn't say complaining could get you fired. I mean, it shouldn't get you fired. Complaining should not get you fired. Calling in too much could definitely gets a lot of people fired. If you complain too much at work, you're just complaining, and hopefully something's done about it, you know? Hopefully you got good management. But if you're calling in too much, yeah, that'll definitely do it. Name something that grows that starts with the letter S. Karen. Name something that grows. Seeds grow. Javier, there's a point for you. 12 points. Dang. Made that too close again. All right, moving on to another round of justifiable thoughts. Name something that smells good that starts with the letter B. I don't think. Oh, I'll give it to you for James M for bacon. Man, I read slugs and I'm like, I don't think slugs smell good. And then I realized that was the last question. James M, welcome to the scoreboard. And as a returning champion, you are entered in as pink. Slugs. Moving on to another round of justifiable thoughts. Name something with hair that starts with the letter H. Head would be correct. That is a point for fragment. Name something. Name something you would hate for a swimming pool to be filled with that you have to jump into, starting with the letter G. Gum. Hey, welcome back. Gum, grease, gravy. Oh, gum would suck. Whether it is the pre-chewed or after-chewed, both suck. Grease would suck. Gravy, that is a funny answer. Gum, I will give it to you for gum. I would also hate to jump in a pool of gum. That's my view, Javier. We are playing, hello, Dollar. We are playing justifiable thoughts. Name something you would never find in a vending machine starting with the letter E. Name something you would never find in a vending machine. Elephants would be correct. Javier, I'll give that to you. You will never find an elephant in a vending machine. You're at 14 points. Richard, you were a close one on that. Hey, Rhino, welcome back. Yeah, you guys do think alike. It's funny. All right, we're going to play one more round, and then we're going to take the halftime. Hello. Welcome to the live game show where I host and keep score while you play by commenting. We're going to play one more round and then we're going to take our halftime break. We're currently playing Justifiable Thoughts. First person to give me a correct. The first person to give me a correct word or sentence will get a point on the scoreboard. All right. Name something that has a button. Name something with buttons that starts with the letter F. Name something with buttons that starts with the letter F. Yeah, the yesterday. I remember the emojis with yesterday. Flannel would be correct. A flannel shirt would have a button. For fragment, you get the point. Rhino, phone is spelled Phone. Fragment, you're at 9 points. Actually, we're going to do one more. We'll do one more and then we'll take the break. Name something that you would find underwater, starting with the letter L. Something you would find underwater. Land. I'll give it to you for that. You got, yeah. Well. Actually, if you look up the definition of land, it says the part of the Earth's surface that is not covered by water. So I'm not going to give it to you for land. Next one would be letters. Letters. Name something you'd find underwater. You'd find letters underwater? You would find letters underwater, because if I think about it, a lot of ships and things, when they sink, they go to the bottom of the ocean with a lot of stuff, and then also there could be a letter in a bottle that had gotten a lot of water in it and fallen. So I could see letters being under. So I'm going to give that point to Richard, actually. I looked up the definition for land, and it literally says that's not covered by water. So, Richard, you're going to get that point. You're at 8 points. Yeah, message in the bottle that sunk. Yep. All right, we're going to go on our halftime break. Hello, Timotheus. This is a live game show where I host and keep score. You play by commenting. We're about to take our halftime break, though. I will be back in 5 minutes for the second half of the show. When you guys hear the sound of the gong, the 5-minute break has started. When you hear the sound of the air horn, the 5-minute break is over. Timotheus, I'll be back in 5 minutes for the second half. We have 2 shows tonight. I do keep a stopwatch on me so I can respect your guys' time. I will be back in 5 minutes. Hey, it's Shannon. I host the games and keep score while you play them by commenting. If you would like to support the channel and enter the Hall of Supporters, my Cash App is Shannon1742. My PayPal and Venmo are mindfuldiscovery@yahoo.com. These should be pinned in the comments. If you are interested in any of the games played on this show or the props used, I have affiliate links in the description. I earn a commission for each product bought at no extra cost to you. Another way you could show support is by purchasing my book, Beyond Solitaire, 52 Unique One-Player Games. This is a book on learning the rules for 52 solitaire-type card games with various levels of difficulties, chance, and skill. I wrote detailed instructions for new and experienced players to be able to learn these games, along with setup pictures for examples. Beyond Solitaire, 52 Unique One-Player Games is available on Amazon as a paperback book and on the Kindle store. It is also enrolled in the Kindle Unlimited program. We have a minute left in the break. Who will enter the Hall of Champions tonight? The three key principles for this game show: we want to be fair, we want to have fun, and we want to be friendly. I personally want to thank this community and everyone in the Hall of Fame for helping develop this positive game show experience. All right, break is over. We will continue on. We're going to start it off soft with Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what balloon I am making within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. Dollar. I keep a stopwatch on me, and since I pressed the gong, it has been 5 minutes and 47 seconds. Like I said, the sound of the official start of the 5-minute break is the gong. That is officially when I start the timer. All right, moving on to Guess That Balloon. We'll do a few rounds of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what balloon I am making will get a point on the scoreboard. You're only allowed 2 guesses per balloon. Not a swan. First person to correctly guess what I made within 2 guesses. Here's a hint. First person to correctly guess what I made with this balloon will get a point on the scoreboard. Richard, I know you know it, but you did your 2 guesses. All right, I'm going to put 10 seconds on the clock if nobody gets it. Ray gun would be correct. That is a point for fireworks. So just a second left. Ray gun is correct. Fireworks, let me add you to the scoreboard. Fireworks, welcome back. Welcome to the scoreboard, and welcome back. Moving on to another round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess what balloon I am making will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to correctly guess what balloon I am making within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to correctly guess what I made within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. Dog would be correct. Dollar. I'm putting you on the scoreboard as dollar. Also, you've been confusing people since you changed your name to my name. Welcome to the scoreboard. All right. We're going to move on to blurt. Blurt is where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a food made of a pastry shell filled with fruit, meat, or custard and baked. The second definition, someone who gives instruction or classes. Pie would be correct. That is a point for Richard Green. The second definition repeated, someone who gives instruction or classes. Teacher would be correct. That is a point for firework. Uh-oh, technical difficulty. Where did I put my marker? One of them's right there. There we go. First person on my screen who said pie was Richard. You're at 9. First person to say teacher was fireworks. You're at 2. Moving on to another round of blurt. Blurt is where I give the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, someone working in a bank who receives and pays out money. The second definition, a stream or jet of water as for drinking or decoration. Dollar, I buzz my own hair because it's easy and cheap and fast. Saves me a lot of time just to be at home. Teller is correct. I'm going to give the point to Richard. You're at 10. Fountain is correct. I'm going to give the point to Richard. I'm going to make sure. Yep. You're at 11. Moving on to another round of blurt. Where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a leather or metal band for the neck of an animal. The second definition, the full-grown male of cattle. The first definition repeated, a leather or metal band for the neck of an animal. It is not leash. Collar is correct. The second definition repeated, bull is correct. First person on my screen who said collar would be fireworks. You're at 3. The first person on my screen to say bowl would be Javier. You're at 15. Moving on to another round of blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a performance of music. The second definition, a container that consists of one bottle enclosed in another bottle with a vacuum between them. Concert would be correct. That is point for The second definition, repeated thermos, would be correct. That is another point for Javier. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. Up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, either of a pair of round organs by which a person or animal sees. The second definition, the sport or skill of shooting with a bow and arrows. Eyes is correct. That is a point for Javier. Archery is correct. That is another point for Javier. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the score, but up to 2 points can be handed out to the players. The first definition, a Native American. The second definition, a talk on a religious subject or text usually given as part of a religious service. Indian would be correct. That is a point for Javier. It is not Bible. It is not prayer. I will repeat the second definition. A talk on a religious subject or text usually given as a part of a religious service. Sermon would be correct. That is a point for Javier. You are at 21. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where I read the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the scoreboard. The first definition, and up to 2 points can be handed up to the players. The first definition, a game played between 2 teams that are separated by a net and hit a ball back and forth without letting it touch the ground. The second definition, a tool for scrubbing, grooming, or applying liquids. Volleyball would be correct. That is a point for Javier. Second definition, repeated, a tool for scrubbing, grooming, or applying liquids. Another hint is you would apply paint with this as well, which is a liquid, but still another hint. Brush would be correct. That is a point for Javier. 23. Moving on to another round of Blurt. Roller. Moving on to another round of Blurt, where with the dictionary definition for 2 words. The first person to tell me the correct word for either definition will get a point on the score, but up to 2 points can be handed up to the players. The first definition, a delicate fabric of fine threads woven in an open pattern. The second definition, an organization of girls or women as at a college. The first definition, repeated, a delicate fabric of fine threads woven in an open pattern. The second definition is sorority. That's a point for Javier. First definition, repeated, of delicate fabric of fine threads woven in an open pattern. It starts with an L and it is 4-letter word. First person who said sorority would be Javier. First definition, repeated, a delicate fabric of fine threads woven in an open pattern. Starts with an L. It is a 4-letter word. 15 seconds on the clock. I'll have you guys know, there's no way I would have gotten this one. Just so you know. A delicate fabric of fine threads woven in an open pattern. Lace was the correct answer. Lace was the correct answer. All right, we're going to go back to justifiable thoughts. Name something that has wheels that starts with the letter E. Brain wasn't brain. Don't worry, I would not have gotten it. Name something that has wheels that starts with the letter E. Out of curiosity, I wonder if I hold this up, if it's easy for you guys to see. Yes, some engines have wheels, including steam locomotives and automobiles. Okay. I was thinking the engine of a car. But, Richard, you got it. Not gonna lie, I had to Google it. Richard, you got 12 points. All right. Moving on to another round of justifiable thoughts. Name something you cannot chew that starts with the letter C. Something you cannot chew that starts with the letter C. Javier, I will give the point to you for car because you can chew carpet. You wouldn't get very far. You could definitely cut out a piece of carpet and chew the carpet. However, I don't think you can successfully chew a car. I didn't say swallow, by the way. I did just say chew. That is going to be a point for Javier. And I'm not saying it's a good idea to chew a carpet. That's not what I'm saying either. Just clarify for people. Name something that costs more than $100 that starts with the letter W. I don't want to imagine chewing a carpet. Name something that costs more than $100 that starts with the letter W. I'm not giving you the point for that. Water bill. I will give you the point for that, Richard. Moving on to another round. Name something you would find at a concert starting with the letter R. What would you find at a concert starting with the letter R? Red lights. Refugees? Richard, I don't think I'm going to give you the point for refugees. Yeah, I feel. Oh, hold on. Person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. That's a weird one. That's a weird one, right? Because if you come here in this country from a war, say 5 years ago, are you still considered a refugee? So hold on. Richard, I'm going to give it to you. Because it's somebody who loses the status of being able to return to their country. So if they could be considered a refugee in this country for long enough to go to a concert. I was just at first I was thinking the first thing they do when they enter the country is go to a concert, but they're considered a refugee for longer than a short period of time, typically. So moving on, you could find a refugee. Name something that is cold. Hey, Mr. Random, welcome back. Name something that is cold, starting with the letter A. I don't see how an Android would be cold. Antarctica would be cold. I'll give the point to you, Javier. Guys, remember, it is called justifiable thoughts, and we justified a refugee being at a concert. That's why Richard got the point for refugee. Javier, you get the point for Antarctica. Mr. Random, welcome back. Name something humans clean, starting with the letter T. Name something humans clean, starting with the letter T. Table. Point for Javier. Name something that is not bigger than a human that you would hate to be bigger than a human, starting with the letter S. Spider. I think many people could agree with that one, Javier. You're going to get the point. Squirrels would definitely be, yeah. Interesting. Name something you could put chocolate on. Oh, that's the wrong one. Name something you could put chocolate on, starting with the letter T. Guys, I just realized that I said name something you could put chocolate on, but I never said that it had to be edible, so you could have just said anything starting with the letter T, and I would have had to give it to you. Because technically, you can put chocolate on probably anything. Tapioca. So, Javier, you're going to get the point. What would make a cat mad, starting with the letter S? What would make a cat mad? Starting with the letter S. A snake would make a cat. Yeah, I would agree with that, Mr. Random. I was thinking it would make it scared, but it would make some mad as well. A lot of scenarios. Squirrels and spiders. Mr. Random, welcome to the scoreboard and welcome back. Technical difficulty. I don't know where my marker is for the scoreboard. Here we go. Mr. Random, welcome back. And as a former champion, you're now entered in as pink or red, whatever color. It's pink for me, but I think might show up as red for you guys. I'm going to read the scores. We have about half an hour left in the game. I'm going to read the scores. Amongst the champions, Simon D is 10. Javier is 29. Richard Green has 13. James M. 1. Mr. Random 1. Amongst everyone else competing to enter the Hall of Champions, but I don't even think any of them are here. VTL has 11. Fragment has 9. Blazing Killer has 1. Fireworks $3 1. Javier needs to calm down. I do need to keep that marker on a leash. Speaking of so. Name something you cannot carry, starting with the letter P. Name something you cannot, that is too heavy to carry. A panda. How much do pandas weigh? I'm going to Google it. Pandas weigh 150 to 280 pounds. I would say you could carry it. The average person probably couldn't. Oh. But it can be carried, so I'm going to go ahead and give it, or not give it to you. Paris, you cannot carry Paris. Hey, Brawny. Planets would have been good. Let me at him. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, got some good competitors in. Uh-oh. Paris. I will give it to Paris. Who said Paris? It'd be Javier. We're playing another round of Justifiable Thoughts. That's fine. Brawny, if you see Mike Tones, tell him I said thank you for a good name for the game. Justifiable Thoughts. I'm trying it out and I like it. Have a good one, Brawny. Hope to see you back later. I got one more stream today. I'll have to tell Mike thank you when next time I see him. Name something you would find in Las Vegas, Nevada, starting with the letter F, or in a casino, or You would find a flamingo. Give the point to Javier. Name something people do in their cars that starts with the letter J. Jump. Richard, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody jump. Oh, but then Javier said jump the battery. Is that what you meant, Richard? Because you still wouldn't jump the battery inside of the car. That's a weird one. You kind of do both inside and outside. Yeah. You might get scared. Okay. All right, Richard. You justified it. I'll give it to you. No, I'll give it to Richard. You might get scared. That's fair. That's fair. I did see a lot of scenarios where that can actually happen. Okay, that was good. I like that too. That was justifiable thoughts. You justified it. Oh my god. That was good. I love this game. This is fun. Fun and funny. Name something you would bring on a camping trip that starts with the letter K. Name something you would bring camping that starts with the letter K. Ooh, nope, that's a C. Knife. Great answer. That's a point for Richard. Name something you would not bring camping, starting with the letter A. Name something you would not bring camping, starting with the letter A. Richard, you have 15. Angry people. All right, Richard, there's another point for you. Name a breakfast food starting with the letter B. Bacon. Point for Javier. Name something that is yellow that starts with the letter P. Pineapple, Mr. Random, that's a point for you. Name something you would hate to get on your birthday, starting with the letter M. A mammoth. I'm going to give it to you, Mr. Random. Even though they're extinct, you could still gift somebody the skeleton of a mammoth. And if somebody did that to me, I would have no clue where to put it. Mr. Random, I'll go ahead and give that to you. I would also hate to get a mammoth for my birthday. I will agree with that. I would agree with that. I would hate to get a mammoth for my birthday. Milk? If it was chocolate milk, I would love it. I love chocolate milk. A mouse? Yeah, I would hate to get a mouse. I guess a mouse would depend. Yeah, I think it would just depend on if you wanted it or not. Imagine giving a mouse to somebody who didn't even want a mouse for their birthday. I would have given it to you. Name something bigger than a house, starting with the letter M. Name something bigger than a house, starting with the letter M. A mountain. Oh, could be a gaming mouse. That's fair. I have a very nice mouse that has like a lot of buttons on it and stuff that help me do a lot of different things. I'll give the point to you, Mr. Random, for mountain. Yeah, it's funny. I work a lot on my computer, so I bought a gaming mouse just because it has a lot of programmable buttons, and I don't even use it for gaming. I just use it to make my production a little bit faster and more convenient. So you're right. Actually, a mouse, that would have been justified. Mars is definitely bigger. Name something you bring to the beach, starting with the letter O. Oranges. That is a point for Javier. An ostrich? Richard, have you ever seen somebody bring an ostrich to a beach? I'm sure somebody has. I'm sure somebody has. Name something that needs batteries starting with the letter P. First thing that came to your mind was an ostrich. Phone. This is why I love this. This game's fun. That was a point for Javier. Richard, you were a close second. Name something you can fit in the gas tank of a car that would destroy the car, starting with the letter D. Diesel. Point for Javier. Dynamite would definitely do it. Well, wait a minute. No, because diesel only, they don't make diesel cars, do they? Or do they only make diesel? Oh, you know what? If you put it into a non-diesel one, that would destroy it. I'm pretty sure. I'm not a car guy, but Javier, you're going to get the point there. 35. Dynamite would definitely do it. Dog food would definitely do it as well. Name something you should not bring into a bank, starting with the letter H. I'm going to give the point to harmonicas because you can't bring a house to a bank. Javier, you're going to get the point there. Name something that can fit in a backpack starting with the letter R. Razor would be correct. I'll give the point to Richard. Ruler was a close second. Name something that you could own that you wouldn't want your partner to find out about that starts with the letter L. Name something you own that you would not want your partner to find out about that starts with the letter L. Give the point to Richard. A ladder. Nothing's wrong with a ladder. A lemur. You're at 18 points, Richard. What would make a horrible wedding gift starting with the letter I? Richard, did you mean iron? Iron. I would agree with iron. Iguana would also, you both said iguana. I would also say iguana would be a horrible wedding gift. I would say an iron is probably a pretty bad wedding gift. I'm going to give it to you, Richard. Hey, Jasper, welcome back, Jasper. Welcome back. You're not in the Hall of Fame yet, so let's see if you can enter today. We're currently playing a new game that I'm creating for the stream called Justifiable Thoughts. All right. Name something you would not want thrown at you from a boat if you were drowning. Starting with the letter D. It could be a word or a sentence. Name something you would not want thrown at you while you were driving from a boat. A duck. I would not want a duck. I'll give it to you. So Jasper, how Justifiable Thoughts works is I have you guys name something, and you must give me a word or a sentence that starts with whatever random letter I pick. Name something you can throw starting with the letter R. Name something you could throw starting with the letter R. Rice, be correct. Jasper, you can throw rice. Welcome to the scoreboard. Oh, I used the wrong color. Give me a second. And Jasper, it looks like this is your first time earning a point on this game show. I know you've been here before, but congratulations. I will be entering your name into the Hall of Fame now that you've earned a point. Once you enter, you never leave. Good job. We have about 11 and a half minutes left in the game show. I'll be doing one more an hour after this one ends. Let's go. Good job, Jasper. Good job. Not everybody gets it their first time coming in, so why is there so little viewers? That's okay. It doesn't matter how many people are viewing it. Are you guys having fun? Because I'm having a lot of fun, so we're gonna keep going. Don't worry about it. It'll grow. It'll grow. Maybe it won't. But I'm gonna keep doing it because I love doing it. Maybe one day it'll get big. Maybe it'll just slowly grow and stay a little small. I'm okay with either way. It is so fun. I'm glad you think it's fun too. Name something you would hate to find in your soup, starting with the letter S. It is a passion, Richard. It really is. I agree. Oh, snake, Mr. Random. I would. Spiders, sour. Ooh, sour soup. Oh. That's, I think, one of the worst things. Oh, by the way, the point goes to snake, Mr. Random. You said snake first on my screen. That's one flavor I hate if I'm not expecting it is sour. Oh, Jasper, let me pull up my chat. So remember I don't know if you're here long enough the last time, but to break ties, we use my screen to break ties. And if you guys sent it very close to each other on your guys' screen, it will show that you guys both sent it first on your screen. Since I'm hosting, I get the messages first. So to keep it fair, we have to have some way to break ties. So we go off of my screen. Mr. Random said it right here. And then you said it here, Jasper. I know it doesn't always seem fair, and it might even not be the most fair, but it is the most fair thing we can do with working around with the internet and stuff. So, awesome. But you can always check, because I do still make mistakes, even with the systems that we have. I still make mistakes, and they get caught every day. So, hey, it's worth it. I still make them. Name something a love song should not be written about, starting with a D. Ducks, okay. Dads. All right. Mr. Random, you're going to get a point for ducks. Moving on to another round. Name something that you could drink that you're not supposed to drink, starting with the letter C. Richard Krabs is like, I'm trying to. Okay, I'm going to give it to you, Jasper. That was a weird answer, but yeah, I guess you could drink that, and you definitely shouldn't drink that. Richard, I don't know how you could drink crabs. I don't know which one of you had a weirder answer, if I'm going to be honest. I love this game because you have to, you got to be the first one, so you got to just, whatever pops in your mind, you just got to go. It makes for really funny answers. Blend it into a smoothie. Okay, I'll agree. Okay, something you could drink that you should not, that you shouldn't drink. Okay, you could drink a crab. Richard, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. You're the first one to say it. This game is called Justifiable Thoughts. He justified it. Doesn't matter if it's hard, if it's possible, he justified it. Name something in the sky, starting with the letter A. An airplane. That is a point for Jasper. Name something you can sit on, starting with the letter C. Something you can sit on, starting with the letter C. A chair. That'd be a point for Javier. We're going to do that one again. Name something you can sit on, starting with the letter B. A bench. Man, these are just too obvious. That is a point for Mr. Random. I gotta move your points. They're too close together. Name something sharp, starting with the letter A. The letter does dictate how hard it'll be. Asphalt? Is asphalt sharp? Oh, the edges of the potholes can be quite sharp. I had to Google, is asphalt sharp? Okay, I could see that. Broken asphalt can be. I'll give it to you on that one. Actually, all of you guys' answers were good. Asphalt was said first. Javier. We'll get it. Name something you would find at a school starting with the letter J. I'll give the point to a jumper. Name something that is scary, starting with the letter B. Bears can definitely be scary. That's a point for Javier. I was looking at it. I was gonna say Barney's not scary, but then I'm like, well, then again, I'm an adult man, so to a little kid, I guess there's probably a lot of kids out there who would find Barney scary. So I would have given you a point for that. Bees would have definitely gotten the point. Hey, Be Stronger Than Excuses. Welcome back. We have about 2 minutes left in the game, and then we have one more game later tonight, an hour after this one ends. We're playing Justifiable Thoughts. Name something you would hate to be on a sandwich, starting with the letter A. Name something you would hate to find in a sandwich, starting with the letter A. Nope, I will not accept alligator because people eat them. I will also not accept ants because people eat them. Oh, wait. Nope. Yep, I'm not going to accept either because they are actually just common foods depending on where you are around the world. Name something you would hate to find on a sandwich starting with the letter A. Doesn't have to be a food, just has to be a word starting with the letter A. Asphalt. Okay. I would hate to find asphalt on a sandwich. I think everybody would hate to find asphalt on a sandwich. Remember, it is called Justifiable Thoughts. Whoever subbed, this firework is for you. Moving on to another round of Justifiable Thoughts. Name something you would find in a refrigerator starting with the letter C. Cheese. Point for Javier. Now, guys, just remember with Justifiable Thoughts, if I have a perspective on no, but you convince me that it's a yes, you'll get the point. It is called Justifiable Thoughts, so you have to justify your thoughts. We're going to do one more round. Name something that is red, starting with the letter E. Awesome. I didn't know if I made that obvious. Perfect. I didn't know if I made it obvious or earlier. Name something red starting with the letter E. Last round. Yeah, I'm sure there's some red envelopes out there. Yeah, there is. Point for Javier. All right, guys, that is the end of the show. That is the last round. We will be doing one more show an hour after this one ends. Well, at about an hour and 2 minutes from now, we're going to do one more show. Did you guys like Justifiable Thoughts? I'm going to read the scoreboard in a second. It's your new favorite? You've liked all the games so far, Javier? Richard Green says it's my new favorite. Awesome. Sweet. I am really glad you guys like it. Yeah, it's awesome. Perfect, Mr. Random. I'm glad. All right. Perfect. I'm glad you guys like it. All right. Amongst the champions, we have Simon D, 10, Javier, 42, Richard Green, 21, James M, 1, Mr. Random, 7. Amongst everybody else competing to enter the Hall of Champions, we have Jasper, $2, 1, Fireworks, 3, Blazing Killer, 1. Fragment got 9, and to announce the new champion, even though they're not here, coming in with 11 points would be VTL, the new champion. Congratulations, VTL. That was a really good one. I'm going to add VTL now. Hope to see VTL back sometime. Come back and find out he was a champion. He might not even find out until I put him on the board as a champion. We had a few people enter the Hall of Fame, and one person on here will not be entering because they got banned halfway through. All right, guys, that is a good game. We have about an hour until the next one starts, and I got to make sure I get off in time so I can make food. Yeah, I'm about to do the same, get some food and some caffeine. Mr. Random, hope to see you on another one. Richard, I'm excited that you're liking the game. Mr. Random, glad you like it as well. I know Javier likes it, so that's cool. I also got to get some food and caffeine, and I will be back in 57 minutes for the next game night. You guys, yes, Richard Green, I will see you in an hour. Let's get some food and get ready for the next one.